Guys, here you go. It's the new one from Ocular Max. It's HELLION, their version of Cliff Jumper. And he's very small. One, he rolls really well. Like, I'm really impressed with it. I mean, he's rolling over some little humps here on my display. But he actually rolls very smoothly and easily, which a lot of times when you get some of these, especially third-party stuff, or even some of the regular stuff with rubber tires, sometimes they roll and they roll okay, but they don't roll really well. He rolls very freely and nicely, which is pretty cool. I love his car mode. Like, there's a few nitpicks I have in robot mode, but his car mode is outstanding. I love the shape of it. I love the size of it. I love the color. It's a little more elongated than his old G1 toy, but it's still very much a strike first on his bumper sticker or bumper plate, license plate. But just a really nice, shiny, candy apple red little Cliff Jumper. He's really cool. And in his box, like I said, I was surprised. I think he came with Magna, I think, is the half of their MMC Skylynx, who's big and heavy. And I was surprised at just how teensy his box is. He's very wee. He's got his little tech specs there on the back. Photos by hard return. And all that good stuff. But yeah, just a small little package. And you get a pretty decent amount of stuff in that package. So you've got the car here by himself. And like here he is with Masterpiece Bumblebee, just to give you an idea of the scale. So a little smaller, but they look good together. And I like that he's differentiated. He's not just kind of a squared off bug like the original G1 toy kind of looked like. You get, in his box you get the instruction manual, which shows you how to transform him, and all the you also get his little bio card and a little tech spec reader for his tech spec that I showed off on the box, and then a bunch of accessories. Some of them are usable the ones that are usable in car mode are this piece, and then these 4 pieces, and this. So this is a bumper, and it just you can see it's got some tabs on here that fit into slots in the front of his bumper, so you just press that on and there you go. And then these are his little water skis, and there's just where the wheel is pinned in, there's actually a little divot there, so there's a couple little supports to support the wheel, and then there's a little peg right here in the middle. So all you have to do is just peg these into the wheels. And they do wibble a little bit because it's not locking. It supports the wheel, but it's not locking the wheel in place on the figure itself. And they're all like they're kind of mirrored front and back, so they're all the exact same piece. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay attention to which wheel you're putting them on. And you set him down, and now he's on his little skis. And he actually slides pretty well, even on like a hard table. Like he wouldn't do well on carpet, but he slides pretty well with a minimum amount of force on these little skis. But if you want to display them like that, you can. He also comes with a little hood gun. You can see there's a little panel here that pops out. Although it's really hard to... it looks like there may be a few divots where you could get a fingernail under it, but I have not successfully really been able to get under that. Oh, hey, I did it! You can see it pegs into the back there. And then you take this, and there's a peg hole in that, and you can swap that out and give him his little hood gun here. And that's all the little accessories here in vehicle mode. We've got some weapons and some extra heads when we get to robot mode. This is on a separate piece. The silver is a separate piece. It pegs in right here, so be very careful with it. When you pop it off, make sure you're not coming from the front, because you could easily push this up, and while hopefully it would pop out here where it pegs in, you could shear this peg off. So do be careful when you're taking this off. I mean, be careful pushing on this part when you're putting it on as well, because the tab's back here. Just push it in here first, and then just kind of seat it in place around the gun. You don't want to snap that. Go ahead and put his original panel back on here, and just pop these. They come right off very easily. And set them off to the side. Now, I did mention, I just kind of said it, but he does have the removable rubber tires, like the old toys did, which is nice. It's a nice little touch. Nice painted rims, nice detail. But all in all, like, I really, really like his vehicle mode. Like, he gets a lot of points just for this vehicle mode here. And also, you can open the doors. I think you may even be able to fit, like, one of the old MP Spike figures in here. But if you open up his doors, you can see he's got a steering wheel. And, like, the back of his arm, you can see his fists are right here. But the back of his arms flip up and actually form seats. Like, he's actually got a full interior here, which is really nice. And if you saw the bottom when I flipped it up earlier. Come on. The door all lined up here. What's up with that? There we go. Not a whole lot of very real visible. You can kind of see the back of his head back here. But aside from, you can see some of the hinges, but it's a very clean underside of the vehicle mode as well. There's some drawback, again, in robot mode, there's some drawbacks to how slick it looks in car mode. But all in all, very nice. So yeah. So to transform them, you just start up here in the front. You just kind of unpeg the, you can see there's a little red tab here going through the gray. I'll make sure this gets untabbed here. And then you just kind of pull the legs out. And then this side has a tab that kind of goes angles and up into the other side. So you want to then just kind of wiggle these a little bit until that comes loose. There you go, like that. You can see what I'm talking about there. There's like a little L bracket that goes in behind and pushes forward to lock all that together, as well as these tabs right here. And that'll let you split the legs. And once you got this done, there's a lot of little pieces that fold up in here. You can go ahead and start by flipping up this little panel. When you're going back to vehicle mode, make sure you don't forget to flip these down, because this right here is the tab that pegs into this. There's another tab up here that this fits over, and if you try to fit that tab into there, it makes the whole front end look bad, so make sure you flip that down. So flip those up into there. And then before you start folding these panels around, take the hood and, if I can get my fingernail in here, it actually rotates around to the side here. It rotates into the inside of the leg like that. And that will start giving you the clearance you need to flip everything else around. Flip that in, flip these up like that, and that will let you bring the whole foot forward. This is folded up. This folds down. It's going to sit across the back of his foot, but then this wheel folds up into the foot, and then this is the only place where it gets a little scary, because you fold this forward, and you can see there's another little tab here, which again was the tab that was hiding under this. And there's actually a peg hole right here behind, or a little space for it right here behind the bumper. So you want to make sure to do this, and then you got to kind of squeeze it past that and snap it into place. It's a little scarier going the other way trying to unhook it. Just make sure you don't use excessive force, and you should be fine. But then again, fold the wheel in, fold this forward, snap it into the front plate, and then fold this around to form the back of his heel. If you're doing some like leaning back poses, you can flip that out a little bit for a little bit more support, but it's supposed to fold in like that. And his wheels just sit there on the bottom of his feet. Well, this wheel, for whatever reason, does not want to fold all the way flat. Maybe like a little burr of plastic or something keeping it from rotating all the way. Doesn't really affect him, but it's there. So now you've got the top end of a car with wheels. So take these panels, pull them out, open up the doors to the side here. And then you'll bring the arms out. You can go ahead and detach this and start folding the upper body, and bring the arms down. And flip the wheel out like that. And then the arms, you can see they're kind of like they sit like this for car mode. And here's a better look. You can kind of see the back of the seat and his fist, how it makes that inside the car. But take this, lift it up. You can see it's on a hinge here. Bring it all the way forward. Rotate the seat around like this. Fold this up. Fold the whole thing around the elbow. There we go. And then fold that up. And then the seat folds down to complete the arm like that. And then bring it out. You want to have these kind of open wide. These are going to snap in later. But again, Come back here, fold the fist and the seat all the way up like that. Fold the whole assembly around, fold up the little piece with the red paint on it. Make sure that sits in there like that, and then fold the seat down. There's a little squarish pit that folds right in there, and that completes the other arm. Open up this, you can see now there's his head. There's a couple, also these little pieces right here. These are where these gray pieces kind of square tab into these. Take these little tabs and fold them all the way up and around, because if you leave them sticking out, it's gonna, when you fold this around, it's gonna rub up here and possibly snap these pegs off. So fold these little tabs around. And then you just kind of work the head so this all goes over. The head's on kind of a collapsing joint, so make sure it fits through there. Bring the windows up. They fold in like this. The doors fold in straight to form inside of his torso like that. So bring that up. That's going to square off inside of his body. You're basically putting the windows back in the same place they were in car mode, while these square panels fold up inside of his body like that. And it kind of hides a lot of the interior car pieces, and we've pulled the waist down like this. And then this backpack continues to rotate around all the way up. And then make sure this folds up. Before you do that, this rear windscreen flips over to form his backpack. You can see the little black circle there. This folds up right behind his head to kind of give him that spoiler here. And fold that up, and there you have him. Snap it all together. Bring his arms up and around the proper way, and like I said, these pieces right here that were open wide, fold those in. And there is HELLION in robot mode. Now, like I said, he suffers from a few minor quibbles here in robot mode. I feel like his arms are a little skinny. Why are you not? There we go. Hold on. Something's bumping into each other here. Let me see what's causing that. There we go. Yeah, his arms are a little on the skinny side, and his waist is... Yeah, he has all the bulk, but his waist is a little awkward from here. I wish this was a little sat a little higher. It kind of looks like his torso is... It kind of looks like his torso has been pulled up from his waist a little bit. I wish his neck sat a little lower here. But yeah, he's got the little spoiler. But I really like you said, the backpack looks nice. It's not bulky. You see from the side, he's not super bulky. And just from a technical standpoint, that transformation is really cool. The X-Transbots one, I do feel in robot mode from the front. I believe it's the X-Transbots one, the other one that's out, looks more like Cliff Jumper, looks a little bit more cartoon accurate than HELLION does. But at the same time, like, they achieve that by having like a huge backpack and a fake chest. So the fact that HELLION gets it all done without faking any of the parts and still gets a really nice looking backpack. Like I said, the transformation itself on a technical level is fantastic. Visually, he's not quite the full-on Cliff Jumper I would prefer, because like I said, it's mostly his limbs. His limbs look skinnier, especially his arms, than I feel fits his body. And he does kind of look, and like I said, I wish this were compressed a little bit. I feel like he'd look better if this gray piece were not visible. But it does give him some articulation, so there's that. He's got you can kind of see there's a ball joint here and a hinge up here, and then you just pop his head off. He does come with two alternate heads, and I'll show you how those work. But his head can look up and down all around. He's got dual hinges at the shoulder, bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows. He does have wrist swivel, and then his fingers can flip out. And it's the same kind of index finger and then the other 3 fingers as one piece. Though his index finger is really not. Well, there we go. So posable hands, well, limitedly posable, like his fingers are in that permanent curl. But and again, very tiny. Getting up in there to get that fingernail out, or to get that index finger out, is a little difficult. Come on, index finger. Let's do it. There we go. Got it. But he's got a waist swivel. He does have an ab crunch. Also, the steering wheel is kind of on a little ball joint. You can raise it up and down, but if you're doing this, be careful, because if it gets caught on something up here, it pops off very easily. It's small, and it's kind of a pain to snap back in because it's so small. Like it more often than not, it tends to shoot off somewhere, and you have to go chase it again. So do be careful with that steering wheel when you're doing this. But he's got hips in both directions, a thigh swivel, dual hinge knees. I guess is it dual hinge? No, it looks like it's just a single hinge knee. I thought there was another one hiding down in here. But you can get a pretty decent pose out of him. Front to back and side to side ankle tilts on the feet as well. So a pretty posable little dude. Weapon-wise, he comes with 2 pistols. Or 2 smaller guns. A glass gas and a rifle, I guess. And again, those can tab into his hands. You can see there's a little tab on either side. And if you've played with any sort of Masterpiece-esque figure, you're familiar with this mechanic of tabbing the guns in. To the hand, it's just a matter of getting the slot lined up. There we go. Wrapping his hand around it. He's got his dual wielding weapons. He also does, in fact, come with his giant bazooka of doom, which you can also, it's got the little tripod there at the front, and it does, you can plug that into his hand as well. It's a little harder to navigate around with the bulkiness of the bazooka itself. Bring his arm up. Wrap his hand around it, and he can bring it up onto his shoulder and fire his giant bazooka. Which is kind of cool. And like I said, he does have 2 alternate heads. Let me get him to stand here. So he's got his neutral face that comes on him. Let me see if I can get a little zoom in on this. So he's got this neutral face, and then he's got more of a squared off face, a little wider, and then an angry face where he's yelling. And as you saw, to pop that, you just lift this up. You can see there's a square little rectangular tab there on the top. Just pop that off, take another head, pop it on, and voila, now he's got a different head. Again, I do wish the neck collapsed. Like, I like the mechanism that it gives him a lot more range of motion in his head, lets him kind of tilt forward and stuff. I just wish when this was fully on, he'd covered up that joint a little better. But yeah, neat little head swap mechanism. And just for the sake of it, let's put it together. Let's put the last head on him. All in all, like I said, his robot mode is not without some quirks. His vehicle mode, I think, is outstanding. Just real quick, here he is with Masterpiece Bumblebee. Oh, it helps if I put him in focus, doesn't it? Yes, it does. like I said, they look good together. Although, like I said, you can see Bumblebee's proportions. I would have liked to have him had been a little bit more proportioned, like Bumblebee. Slightly thicker biceps, slightly thicker forearms. The legs, I guess, are okay. And honestly, looking at them side by side, I don't mind that narrow waist. Also, you can, the angle of the waist. Ironhide kind of has the masterpiece or movie studio series. Ironhide, there we go, has kind of the same deal going on, but we'll see that later. But a nice solid cliff jumper. Like I said, vehicle mode gets a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a really nice looking vehicle mode. Robot mode, maybe a 7 out of 10. Because it's nice, it's posable. The transformation is a very nice transformation. There's just a few little visual changes I would like to... I think it would take to make him look like just an A+ all-around cliff jumper to me. But he's fun enough, and like I said, I really do like his vehicle mode. But there he is, Mastermind Creations, I guess it is a subline of there, but Ocular Max HELLION.